world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, boom, ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
Talking about Tolkien. What's up, Ben?
Not much, Nate. We're 3 chapters in now. This is the stuff that's not in the movie, really.
Yeah, no.
Are you still having fun?
There's maybe a page or 2 of this in the movie, and then we just skip right to Bree.
Yep. So if you're a movie only consumer of Lord of the Rings, get ready because you're getting into the new stuff.
Yeah, the new old stuff.
And if you're somebody who read Lord of the Rings 10 years ago and now confuses the book with the movie, this is probably also going to be a lot of new stuff. Yeah.
That would be me.
If you don't remember Gildor and Glorion.
Nope.
Of the House of Finrod.
I did not remember these elves at all.
Oh. So do you want to give the summary or would you like me to? As always, I have one written.
I can give a little summary. I did forget to mention last chapter. Frodo is like, well, why was I chosen? And Gandalf was essentially like, well, it's not because you're exceptionally smart, strong, or brave.
It's certainly not because of that.
Okay, well, thanks for filling me with confidence, buddy.
Frodo's sassy in the book. I'm surprised. Like, I was surprised how much I liked Bilbo in The Hobbit. I'm surprised how much I like Frodo. Because I think I definitely have conflated, not so much with The Hobbit. I hated those movies. But the Lord of the Rings movies were pretty good.
I agree.
I have definitely conflated the actors with some of the characters.
Yes. So
I do have like Elijah Wood's Frodo and especially Sean Astin's Sam in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're doing 3 is Company. It's chapter 3.
It's the chapter where Frodo pretends to be gay in order to live with 2 female roommates. Mr. Roper is going to try to find out all the time if he's got a girl up there. Is he lying to me? And then at one point, I think Mr. Roper he ceases to be Don Knotts or something.
Yeah.
This joke is probably a little too old for most of our listeners.
Yeah, see, there's your problem right there. You're talking about 3's Company. This is 3 is Company. When you shorten it is when you run into the issue. When you shorten it,
it becomes the wonderful and poorly aged sitcom. The 70s.
The good old... Actually, I don't think anyone refers to the 70s as good old days.
It was never good. There's never been a good time to be alive. It sucked the whole time. So what happened in 3's Company? 3 is Company, sorry.
So 2 or 3 weeks have passed. I thought it was kind of funny because Gandalf is like, I said soon, not immediately. All right. I didn't say you have to leave right now at this night, but like,
sooner than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Frodo's dragging his feet.
So Frodo has finally decided, I'll leave on my 50th birthday, but what direction should I go? And Gandalf is like, just, pick one. Pick one and keep going in that direction.
The important thing is that you not be here in a neighborhood named after you anymore.
They decide, all right, we'll go to Rivendell. That's a good place. Frodo might need to find the cracks of doom, but he's not ready for that quest yet. They both acknowledge. There you go.
Yeah, Gandalf suggests that perhaps we don't know where your final destination is here, Frodo, but maybe it's the cracks of doom. Maybe you got to take it all the way there. Or maybe that's a quest for somebody else. I don't know. But the important thing is that we not be here anymore.
Oh, and the road to Rivendell is going to be harder than it was last time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any of this 4 chapters and we're there bullshit, okay? It's not going to be a comical stab a troll in the eye and then wait until the sun comes out and you're free just walk in the park. You have some trouble getting to Rivendell this
now that
time.
the way you're describing it now, you're like, yeah, that's like it wasn't easy the last time.
It was pretty easy. You just had to trick the trolls until they... I mean, now the trolls don't even talk to you about how they're going to eat you.
The trolls shoot first and ask questions later now.
The trolls club you with a giant tree and you're a pancake by then.
And there's worse things than trolls out there, but they won't be named because I haven't thought of a name yet.
And they mention Elrond Half-Elven. I did not catch that when I read the first time.
They call him Elrond Half-Elven in The Hobbit.
Yeah, and I probably mentioned I didn't pick it up that time either.
I tell you, they don't go out of their way to emphasize that in the movie because, again, he's supposed to hate humans.
For some reason, yeah.
Despite, like, being one.
Yeah, and raising the heir to that guy.
Heirs, plural.
Oh, good.
He has raised generations of his brother's kin in Rivendell.
Yeah.
Specifically because he wants to, like, teach them.
Hates them.
Yeah, well, because he hates them.
Yeah, he specifically is like, I'm gonna torture you. I'm not gonna let you go out after 9
I'm gonna make
o'clock.
you learn. I'm gonna make you learn Elvish. I'm gonna force you to smooch my hot daughter. I'm gonna.
Damn it!
I mean, that would actually be messed up if he did force you to do that. But yeah, no, he doesn't hate people. I don't know, like he doesn't hate Isildur.
No, Elrond's a pretty stand-up guy. I would never picture Elrond fighting Neo in the Matrix. You know.
Somebody posted a thing where Frodo was Neo in the Matrix.
Oh my god!
And they had like Elrond, Hugo Weaving saying like Mr. Anderson or whatever, and I replied something I thought was hilarious that not that many people liked, which was his name is Underhill.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody got that.
That's pretty solid.
So,
yeah, I got it.
Pretty good. Yeah,
that's Frodo's new name.
That's his travel alias. Yeah, he's Mr. Underhill.
So yeah.
Because Neo says the thing. He's like, my name is Neo. That's why. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Well, it's just like you didn't laugh, so like I didn't think you understood. Okay.
Feel free to dub in some laughter and say that was for me. So, Frodo has a plan, okay? Because he's kind of a celebrity that lives in a gigantic mansion named after him. And it would be really weird if he just disappeared one day. That might get people asking questions. So, he's going to sell his house because he's broke. And he's going to buy Crick Hollow in Buckland. And then he's going to go there and then keep going. Like, he's just going to keep walking once he arrives.
Officially, he's selling Bag End. He hasn't told anyone why he's selling Bag End. People are just spreading rumors. Though the rumor that he needs the money is honestly pretty quickly dismissed. Because most people are really clinging to the belief that he still has secret hoards of money.
Yeah, the real rumor that most people cling to is that this is one of Gandalf's machinations.
Yeah,
they're not wrong.
A broken hobbit's right twice a day, you know?
So, yeah, he sells Bag End to the goddamn Sackville Baggins.
That pissed me off. I didn't remember that either. That fucking Sackville Baggins. I
remember that. God damn it.
Lobelia Sackville Baggins gets to enjoy one moment of pleasure, and that's too much.
Now, luckily, Otho is dead.
Thank God Otho is dead.
Unfortunately, they had a son named Lotho. It's just a combination of the first letter of her name and his name.
I don't hate the children, you know.
If you're gonna feel pity for him, just remember how his tale ends.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't hate the children yet, but I don't think Lotho's gonna escape this cycle of tragedy. You know, I think he's gonna become a true Sackville Baggins.
So piece of shit. So Gandalf is like, I need to go. I've been idle for too long. I've been hanging out here for 2 months. We probably should have left during this time that I've been here for 2 months.
He woke up in a cloud of smoke and realized it was like 3 months later.
He's like, okay, here's my plan. I'm gonna go back south, and I'm gonna do some stuff, and then I'll come back by the time of your birthday. If you need to leave sooner, I'll come back sooner. Presumably, I'll have a race with whatever's trying to get you. So, okay, bye. So Frodo
He's
has
specifically looking for news. He's going out to find out what's been going on because in the Shire,
I thought
no
you
one
said
has any.
nudes. I was like, well, that's okay.
He's going out to look for nudes.
He's gonna get Sauron's personal stash.
Frodo.
He's gonna blackmail him.
I got a new plan. Cancel Sauron. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna eviscerate this guy on social media.
He sent a dick pic through the Palantir.
Everyone with a Palantir is gonna know that this guy is capable of being nude.
Okay, so he's going out for news. Finish that thought.
News. He's going out for news because nobody in the Shire talks about anything going on in the rest of the world. And Gandalf is becoming very anxious about what the capital E enemy is doing.
Yeah. So, Frodo, on the other hand, is like, all right, okay, bye, Gandalf. Have fun getting your news or whatever. And he has a small little birthday dinner with his friends. And Merry is going to go to Crick Hollow to get it all nice and ready now. So he's just going to hang out with his friends, Peregrine, Took, Samwise Gamgee. We're going to just hang out, drink, and make merry. And then tomorrow...
There are other friends, but nobody remembers them.
There wasn't at least one other person.
It was Fatty Bolger.
Was it Fatty? Yeah,
it was Fatty Bolger.
There's a reason no one remembers that guy. Okay. We already had Bomber. All right. We can't have another one. So
Bomber might still be out there.
He is. Didn't we say
I think
he's so fat he can't move?
Yeah. I think I mean I don't know, like, did he die yet? And no, I think he's still hanging on.
He employs a small troop of dwarven boys to act as his furniture and carry him around everywhere.
I'm gonna give this one to you because it's been a long time since we personally talked about it, but for the audience, this will have been like 2 episodes ago. So yeah, Fatty Bolger, Peregrine Took, Sam, Frodo.
Yeah, Fatty goes home. You know,
he's not going on the hike.
Never heard or seen from again, but the other 3, yeah, he's not going on the hike. We're going to do some strenuous walking. We're going to walk all the way to the Brandywine Ferry, and then we're going to depart to my new house, and then...
There's a Brandywine Bridge and a Buckleberry Ferry.
Oh, okay.
I think they're going to the bridge?
I thought they were going to the ferry. They mentioned the ferry.
No. I think the wagon went over the bridge.
Yes.
The wagon with his stuff went over the bridge, I think.
So yeah, they're going to go to the ferry. They're going to go to the house, and then presumably he and Sam are just going to like, hey, we're going to the gas station for some cigarettes. We'll be back soon. And then he just keeps walking, leaving Pippin and Merry to wonder where he had gone. So, let's see. Oh, yes. So, Frodo's outside late at night on his birthday night. He hears just down the street a strange inquirer talking with Sam's dad, the gaffer, about where Frodo went. And he's like, yeah, Frodo? Oh, he moved out like a few days ago. He's got a new house over in Buckland. Yeah, you can go check it out for yourself. And Frodo doesn't go and inspect who that is. And importantly, the person asking Sam's dad does not just walk down the street to see if he's telling the truth. He just takes it in stride and trusts that, yeah, okay, Frodo moved out 2 days ago. I'm not going to go check that guy right there. He's trustworthy.
So I will add one thing that might explain some of the behavior of the Black Riders is at this point, they're still kind of undercover, or they're not necessarily coming in hot.
Well, what if they would have gone down the street and found Frodo?
That
Would he have been like, I'm Underwood? And then would they have felt the ring or anything? Would they have sniffed him and been like, nah, he's got the ring, dog?
I think they might have been able to bluff. He might have been able to bluff. It would have. They might be able to sense the ring that close. It's ambiguous to me what exactly. So the ring wraith sniffs the air multiple times in this chapter, and he seems to be following their trail. It's unclear to me if he's following the trail of the ring or just Frodo. Like if he went to Bag End, caught the scent, and then continued to follow. I don't. They don't know where the ring is. Otherwise, they would have found it by now. It's actually like raw investigative skill that's gotten them this close. Like the nine are kind of portrayed as just constantly getting their ass kicked in the movies, but they're actually pretty good at what they do.
Yeah, they're some of his most elite troops for a reason.
Yeah, so they got this close. And if you're wondering, and I only know the identities of two of the Nazgul, this is one of them. This particular Nazgul is Kamul the Easterling.
Oh, okay.
And you will notice, if you're an eagle-eyed reader, that Frodo doesn't wind up talking to the gaffer at this junction, but he sent Sam to drop off a key for the Sackville baggages when they take the house. He gives the key to the gaffer, and the gaffer tells him about this guy who was there, and he says he has a weird way of talking, which is presumably an Easterling accent.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what the movie would be. But
so does this dude have a fucking regular voice then, coming from a Nazgul?
I don't think it's quite so over the top as the Shire Baggins. I think he talks like a person. He might have a little bit of a rasp or something, but
it's
maybe. Maybe.
Where is Baggins?
Well, because in the movies, the Witch King doesn't talk like that. He's like, "Do you know death when you see it, old man, or do you not know death when you see it, old man?"
Do you not know death when you see it, old man?
And then that scene didn't happen in the book, I don't think. So they're like, well, we have to come up with a reason for why these two aren't going to fight right now.
It happens. It happens at a different point.
Ah, okay.
He breaks down. Gandalf's
it was the Faramir, the part where in the two towers. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. That part doesn't happen because then
in the book,
no.
I mean, we'll eventually get to this, but in the book, the scene with Gandalf and the Witch King, I believe, happens when the Witch King is the one that like enchants Grond or something, the battering ram, to break down the gates of Gondor, and Gandalf is standing there, and the Witch King comes in. It's not three trolls, and then Gandalf runs away. A lot of the movie doesn't really make sense as you go through like scene by scene and compare it with the book. Like Gandalf did not hold that gate very long. He's like, whatever comes through that gate, stand your ground. Good luck.
I'll be way in the back cheering you on. That's a Nate move, Gandalf.
It's Denethor. He's trying to burn Faramir. Oh, thank Christ. Gotta go, guys. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna speed through some of this, if you don't mind.
What?
Because there's actually a lot. There's a lot to talk about.
There's okay, all right. So the next day they go hiking, Ben, and then they hike, and then they hike, and then they hike, and camping just looks like it sucks, and I don't know why people do it. And
I'm having such an opposite reaction to the hiking and the camping.
I like the hiking part, but then I want to like lay down in a bed.
No,
I don't want to lie on a tree root. I'm good.
I would enjoy hiking so much more if when you found a decent spot to sleep, you could just sleep without, being accused of being homeless.
Well, I was going to say that luckily, so that first night they don't set any watch. but the DM only rolled a fox for a random encounter, so they were fine.
I do like how Tolkien just randomly gives you the fox's inner monologue. The fox is like, hobbits sleeping outside. Well, this is some strange business, and I believe it marks more strange business to come. I shall vanish forever now.
Bye.
And Tolkien tells us the fox never did find out what that meant, but he was right. It was weird.
It's true. They're backpacking across Woody End, which is what my wife calls me in the bedroom. And
Not sure if
Woody
she's
End
complimenting
is a
you.
wild, untamed corner of the Shire. And there's basically no foot traffic through there. And yet, Ben, Sam hears a horse on the road. And Frodo suddenly feels like he does not want to be seen, but he's standing up. Like, they get off the road, they go hide in the trees, and only at the last second does he throw himself on the ground to avoid being seen. Anyway, do you want yada 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 from here, or is this
Okay.
is this good pace?
Okay, so this is what I've written down. So Frodo watches the Black Rider cross where they just were, and he stops where they just were, and he sniffs the air, and then he rides off again. And Frodo thinks that's pretty weird, and he's pretty sure that guy's there for him, and Sam's pretty sure that guy's there for him, and Pippin's like, so what are we having for second breakfast?
Yeah.
Pippin has made them stop to eat like 4 times today. And I think this is after accusing Frodo of getting fat.
Yeah.
So later, the Black Rider catches up with them again. And again, they hide. But Frodo does something cool this time, and it's a little detail, but I like it, where they run. Pippin and Sam take off into the trees, and Frodo's like, get into the trees, but let's not go too far. I want to see what this guy does. I want to see what this is about.
I want to make sure that it's the Black Rider again, or if it's someone else.
Well, he's curious, and he doesn't really know who the Black Rider is or what he wants, and he's trying to learn a little bit more about it. And he's not. I don't really love the scene in the movie. This is kind of the beginning of like Frodo as a sad sack, where like,
get to the trees,
get off the road,
get off the road, quick!
And his voice is quavering, and he's gonna cry, and it's like Frodo cries a lot, but like they're manly tears, you know?
They're manly tears.
It's like I'm gonna die in a fucking lava flow. You're allowed to cry. That's like one of the exceptions when a man is allowed to cry. If you're about to be burned alive, you cry. I mean, that's fine. But no, Frodo's like, I want to get a look at this guy. I want to see what's going on. And unfortunately, the Ringwraith dismounts, and this scene is described a little creepier than I remember, where the Ringwraith dismounts, he sniffs the air again, and then he drops to the ground in a crawl.
Yeah,
and starts crawling into the woods after them.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine
remember that.
I like to imagine this is not like a baby crawl. I like to imagine this is like a spider crawl, like in a horror movie.
That's what I pictured. I did not picture him doing a baby crawl. I pictured he's doing like, oh my god, like what the fuck? This bizarre giant man is like crawling around like a spider.
Hands and feet on the ground, crawling at speed into the trees after them. But fortunately, the merry singing of a band of elves headed for the Grey Havens causes him to
crawl away very quickly. He spider crawls up his horse.
He spider crawls in reverse, back up onto his horse, and rides away. And you know what? That was creepy too. Fortunately, as the elves are walking past, the hobbits are still watching them from the trees. The leader of the band of elves spots Frodo, and he introduces. Yeah, like almost like he's expecting him.
You're not hiding very well. You also didn't mention that each time the riders come close, Frodo really wants to put that ring on.
Yes. And I do think that is an effect of the riders. So we'll talk about the Black Rider's powers a little bit here, and we'll talk about it more as we go on. But one of the powers they have is a strong aura of fear. And I think at this point, I'm not sure if it is their just aura of fear, that is causing Frodo to think of the ring. Like it's causing Frodo anxiety, and the ring is his connection with the ring is seizing on that anxiety to be like, put it on, put it on, put it on. Or if the ring wraiths are somehow like projecting the thought, like put on the ring, put on the ring. But I think it's equally as likely that it's just their aura and Frodo's stress and connection with the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure either.
So the elf introduces himself. He is Gildor Inglorion of the House of Finrod, and that's like if you know that if you read the Silmarillion and then you come back to this, that's big. We'll talk about that in a second. So Pippin, Frodo introduces himself. He's trying to talk to the elves a little bit, see what's going on, and Pippin's just like, "Hey, elf guy. Well, you know anything about these weird demonic black riders that seem to be following us and sniffing us and crawling like spiders at us?" And Gildor he hears that and he's just like, "I see. We don't normally travel with non-elves. Quite frankly, you smell. But in this case, I think we're going to make an exception. You'd better come with us." And Sam is like having the time of his life.
Yeah. This is what I always wanted. The elves.
He's set off on this quest to see the elves, and so far it's going great.
And now he can die happy.
Well, maybe not happy, but so the hobbits stay with them the night. Pippin immediately gets drunk, stuffs his face, and passes out. Yeah. Sam is hanging out.
Sam like curls up at Frodo's feet like a dog. Is that?
It's not gay. It's not gay.
No, it's a little worse. I feel like it's like Dom, and I mean, I guess if that's what you guys are into, okay.
You're gonna sit here. You're gonna tell me you never slept curled up at another man's feet. Come on, there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's the beautiful love between a landowner and his gardener.
There you go.
Can't date your employees, Frodo. I just yelled at Neil Gaiman for that.
That's not going to stop Sam from trying.
Sam's Sam's the only one of this bunch that gets married, man. Yeah, he's not the only one, but
yeah. He names all of his children Frodo.
He names one of them Frodo, and he has 13 of them. So Sam's a trooper. Yeah. So Sam, I do love this little detail Tolkien puts in, and they're like eating like all the elves' food, and it's just amazing, and like the apples are amazing. And Tolkien writes like this, like Sam would remember this night ever after. Like it was one of the like standout moments of the adventure for Sam. But he struggled to put it into words, and all he could really say about it was, "If I could grow apples like that, I'd really call myself a gardener." But it was the singing that really got to me. End of story. So Sam is not like a wordsman. He's not a lyrical wordsmith genius. But he is touched.
He doesn't remember. Because it was so magical.
I get that, man. When you're in a place, like, I can't talk to you about this because I'm still like planning to surprise you with it. But like I was at a place this past weekend and there was a lot going on. And like you struggle to take it all in. And like there's just that sensory overload where it's like you remember like a haze and a vibe. And yeah.
The Ninja Sex Party concert in Denver where I took 2 edibles and I don't remember the songs. I just felt the music pounding me in the chest.
What was the dosage, my friend?
I have no idea.
That's bold to take 2. That is bold to take 2 and not know the dose.
My wife took 2 on my advice. That was a bad idea.
Take half.
She kept smiling,
and you wait 20 minutes.
And I'm like, "Why are you smiling?" And she was afraid she was having a stroke, and she was making sure she was symmetrical with her smile.
I've 100% done that after taking edibles. I took.
I just felt really pleasant.
This is nothing to do with.
I was good.
I took. I've been taking, I'm a lightweight. I've been taking 5 milligrams gummies, and I'd been cutting them in half. So I was actually taking like 2.5, and I wasn't looking to get high. I was looking to just like relax. And so I got another set of gummies, and I made the mistake of thinking they were 5 milligrams. They were 10 or 15, and I cut it in half like I normally do. I took it, and I was actually playing Helldivers with you. and and after you went to bed and I went to bed, and then the bed just started spinning. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be here a minute. That was a rough night. But yeah, Gildor and Glorian. He also stays up all night.
What is Manel Vagar, the swordsman of the sky? Is that just constellation?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like Orion.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, we'll talk about this in a minute, actually. But so Gildor and Frodo talk, and they're discussing the situation. Now that they're in a safe place, Gildor is kind of ready to open up about.
Well, here's an important thing. Okay. First of all, Gandalf not showing up, that's a bad omen. But Frodo's like, I need to know about these Black Riders. And Gildor is like, Frodo, I can't tell you about the movie monster yet because then it's not as scary.
Okay, so that's not what he says. He says, has Gandalf told you nothing? And Frodo's like, kinda. Yeah, that's kind of the situation I'm in. And Gildor's like, okay, I don't think it's my place to tell you about all this. I think you should talk to Gandalf about it. I'm afraid if I tell you what I know,
you have to. You don't want to give away the movie monster yet, right?
You don't want to give away the movie monster.
If it's just a black rider that's hunting you and spider crawling into the forest.
Well, he tells Frodo, if I tell you everything about these Black Riders, you may well fail to complete your journey out of sheer terror. And he's
why don't you come with me, Gildor? You just go back to Rivendell real quick.
So Gildor says that he's not gonna be able to go that way. I don't think okay. I believe this band of elves is heading for the Grey Havens, though it is unclear if Gildor is just sort of along for the trip or if he's actually leaving for the Grey Havens. But he promises on his way through the woods, he's going to send out messengers to the elves and basically any friendly ally.
Tom Bombadil.
And he's going
Tom Bombadillo.
He's going to advise them to give whatever aid they can. And he's concerned, very concerned, that Gandalf did not return when he said he would. And he really wants Frodo to, do what you're doing. He's like, will you tell me what's going on? Will you tell me why they're chasing you? And Frodo's like, no. And Gildor's like, okay, it's hard to give you advice if I don't know the situation.
Yeah. But you're an elf. So
Frodo,
why don't you hedge your bets?
Frodo's like, well, should I wait for Gandalf in Crick Hollow?
Should I stay or should I go?
Or should I take off? And Gildor's like, well, you're asking for advice, and I don't want to give advice. But I think he says something like, he's got a sweet line about not making a wizard mad. He says, do not meddle in the affairs of wizards, for they are subtle and quick to anger. The choice is yours to go or wait. And it is also said, Frodo answered, go not to the elves for counsel, for they will say both no and yes.
Yeah, they will.
And Frodo sasses him. And I like that. Again, Frodo standing up for himself. Frodo being witty. He's making jokes. He speaks the Elvish language. He's proven himself to be quite a capable traveler. And the elf finally says, my instinct, if it were me, get out of here. Keep going to Rivendell. You do not want those things to catch up to you. And my other bit of advice is while you're getting out of here, if you don't hear from Gandalf, grab whatever companions you can really trust and go. Just go. And that's kind of where the chapter ends.
Yeah.
So I have a few talking points here.
Okay.
One of them I wanted to definitely mention the Black Rider, and you had a question about why would the Black Rider be scared off by the elves?
Yeah.
So there is a question of how many elves there were. I think it's probably a larger group. I was thinking like I imagine around 20.
And he can't take on 20 elves.
Well, no, I think that depends because the elf mentions so Frodo mentions that these are high elves and that those are somewhat
Yeah, they
rare.
are.
Those are somewhat
Some
rare in Middle Earth.
Great. Oh, I see. You're not talking about like the edibles. You're okay.
No.
All right. What is a high elf?
Okay. So
Is this part of that fucking chart?
This is definitely part of that chart.
God damn it.
The
I don't know where that chart even is anymore.
I have it actually in my notes for this episode. I've copied and pasted it many places. So a high elf is an elf who heeded the call to go to Aman.
Okay, wait, what is Aman?
Aman is the continent that contains Valinor.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are a high elf is the elf who saw the light of the two trees in Valinor.
Is that an Eldar?
So the elves, we'll cover this again just for you. Okay. The elves awaken in Middle Earth at the dawn of the First Age. So at this point in Middle Earth, this is actually kind of relevant. So let's talk about it. At this point in Middle Earth, the sun and the moon are not yet made.
Oh, that sounds like not fun. How do you see?
The stars exist. And
so the sun isn't a star, is what you're telling me. Wow.
That is correct.
Everyone else gets light, but not us.
The sun, the sun is not a star, and the stars are not suns. The suns are just lights in the sky for us.
Okay. Could you maybe have turned on a brighter, bigger light? I mean,
Yeah, they're getting
I can't see
there,
here.
Okay?
You know what I mean?
Oh, is my sun not as good as the sun you made? I'm sorry. So, okay. So the Quendi are the elves. They awaken, right? Quendi is the elvish word for elf.
Okay, we're on the same page.
The Valar find the elves, and they're like, "Hey, it's not super great here in Middle Earth. Morgoth is here. He's got shadowy stuff moving around. We think it would be a lot safer for you if you came to live with us." And here the elves split into two groups. The elves who are like, "Okay, yeah, we'll listen to you. You're the gods. We'll listen to you." Those are the Eldar. Then there are those who are like, "I don't really trust this offer. I feel like I'll do what I want, and I would just be a slave or a servant if I went with you. And I just don't really trust it, and I want to stay where I am. This is my world. I'm allowed to be here." Those are the Avari. Then...
Yeah, I thought this was America.
Yeah, I thought this was Middle America. The real America.
The real America.
So the elves set off in 3 waves. First, go the Vanyar.
Okay, the fair elves. Gotcha.
The fair elves. These are like the light elves of Norse mythology, basically. Second,
they think they're so awesome and so cool, but you're not.
Second goes the Noldor.
The deep elves.
Yes, the deep elves. The Noldor are the best at craft and the forging of things, the making of things.
So they're the most evil, you're telling me. Okay, got
They're the most susceptible to...
Did they make the rings?
Yes.
Those motherfuckers.
And then there's the Falmari. There's the Teleri, which is the third group. The Teleri fractures. So the Vanyar make it, the Noldor make it. The Teleri, some of them make it eventually. They get there, and they're the Falmari. Together, the Vanyar, the Noldor, and the Falmari make up the Calaquendi, or the Calaquendi, which is elves of the light, elves who have seen the light of the 2 trees of Valinor. They actually make it over to Valinor, and they see the trees. Now, the Falmari, They're called sea elves. They like to live on the coasts. They maintain boats. The Noldor, obviously, they do their crafts. They do a bit of mining. And the Vanyar, they're kind of like sing and poetry. They're English majors, theater kids, what have you. So you might have noticed I said the Teleri separate a little bit. So the Falmari make it, but that's just a small chunk of the Teleri.
Yeah.
Some of the Teleri get most of the way there and decide they kind of like what they find. So it's like pretend you're like you got a fresh Minecraft server and you find just like a really good spot. You were supposed to go a little further to meet up with your friends, but like this is a really good spot for a base. Well, the Nandor, the Green Elves, find that in the woods east of the Misty Mountains that would become Mirkwood.
Yeah.
And the Sindar, the Grey Elves, they stay behind west of the Misty Mountains.
Is that what? That's not Elrond.
Elrond. Oh, geez. Elrond.
Oh, God.
Is descended. He's not born yet.
So he's a dark elf. Oh, hey, there's the high elves all the way down there on the chart. I was like, I don't even see high elves. High elves are the Calaquindi.
Yes.
Which are the Falmari, the Vanyar, and the Noldor?
Yes. You're getting it. You're getting it. Okay.
Are the 2 trees of Valinor, are those the ones that they made the Silmarils after?
The Silmarils contain light from the 2 trees, yes.
Okay. Are the 2 trees still in Valinor?
No.
Okay.
So some shit goes down.
Is this where the spider kills them?
Yeah, so Morgoth decides on this big festival day, when all the elves in the Valar are going to be partying, that it is time for his revenge. I believe at this point he was taken back to Valinor as a hostage. He's been captured. He's been hanging out. He's been punished, but now he's kind of been paroled. He's been on good behavior for a while. But not really. He hasn't forgiven or forgotten. And he goes and he concocts this plan. We'll get more into it later. But he's going to destroy the 2 trees and he's going to take the Silmarils. If you don't know what the Silmarils are, that's okay. You just need to know that they're very beautiful, very precious
just go
gems.
Read Ready Player 2.
No. They're very beautiful, very precious gems. They're very important to the Noldor, the Deep Elves. They made them. It's the coolest thing they ever made. They're very important to them. And Morgoth kills the 2 trees with the help of Ungoliant, a giant spider. And he takes the Silmarils and he kills the king of the Noldor. And then he takes the fuck off. And he goes back to Middle-earth. The Noldor are enraged by this. And they swear some unwise oaths. And they also go to Middle-earth to follow him to try to kill a god.
Nice. How does it go for them? Really well, I assume?
Not well. It is an unmitigated disaster. The Valar tell them that they will find only misery and tears in Middle-earth, and the Valar know what they're talking about. One of the Noldor, I believe a son of the king, is Finrod. Finrod is a relatively noble Noldor. He comes back to Middle-earth with them, but he doesn't participate in some of the bigger crimes that most of the Noldor commit. The sons of Feanor, and it's a whole big thing. The Noldor commit a lot of crimes. They kill some people. They steal some ships. That doesn't really work out. They wind up having to cross like an ice bridge, like from, like this is literally like from like Asia. Russia to America.
Yeah.
A bunch of them die on that. It's a whole mess. Finrod's crew did not participate in the killings. And Finrod is very wary of this oath. Basically, an oath is sworn that anyone, any entity that takes the Silmarils and tries to keep them from their rightful owners will be hunted till the end of time. And they will stop at nothing to kill them and take them back. This is a really, really bad oath to swear because there's a million ways it can go wrong. And the Valar tell them that is a dumb oath to swear. You're swearing you're going to kill a god, and like you're not. And like spoilers, they don't kill Morgoth.
Yeah, isn't he still alive?
Technically,
And he's going to come back at the end or something
he'll probably come back at the end.
and wage one last war, and he'll lose again,
Yep.
but kind of everyone else is also going to lose, and then we go on to the next thing.
Yep. So Finrod, he's mostly an honorable elf. He dies fulfilling an oath to a human man who helped him once. I think it's actually his father who helped him. And Finrod fulfills that oath. He dies. And in exchange, basically for seeing the folly of that original oath to kill Morgoth, and for basically living a good life and being and dying nobly, Finrod is the first elf in the First Age to be reincarnated in Valinor. So he dies in Middle Earth. He gets reincarnated in Valinor. But for a brief time, he is a leader of Noldor in Middle Earth. And so for Gildor and Glorion to be of the house of Finrod means that he is also a Noldor. And if you need any more, if you know anything about Lord of the Rings, Finrod is the brother of Galadriel.
Oh, okay.
Galadriel is probably the most powerful elf. She's definitely probably the most powerful elf in Middle Earth. And one of the most powerful elves to have ever lived. And this is her brother. So he's
Finrod the guy who goes to Helm's Deep in the movie, but not actually in the book?
No, that's a different guy. Finrod is long gone. He's in Valinor.
Oh.
This marks him as a Noldor, and that marks him as being of the tribe that came to Middle Earth to make war on Morgoth. Morgoth, if you don't know, is the Satan figure of Tolkien's mythology. Sauron was but a servant to Morgoth. It is only after Morgoth's final defeat and exile that Sauron was able to rise up and take power. So the Noldor are kind of used to fighting evil. And I think that's at least part of why the Ringwraith turns away. The Noldor...
Getting back to how we originally got here. The Ringwraith ran away from these elves because they're high elves. All right.
Just know that like there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of history in everything. I mean, that's why I love this. But yeah, I think that's why he ran away. So that's something. Keep in mind too that the Ringwraiths, the way they perceive the world is kind of that shadow world that Frodo's in the movies. They exist in the unseen world. Their bodies are gone. They are wraiths. And they see in the unseen world for the most part. And so they do get a sense of like the spirit of people. So they could probably kind of sense that some of these elves are old, powerful, probably killed their fair share of orcs and nasties in the past. So he just decides, no, I'm not going to go that alone. I'll let him go for now.
I'm going to go get my other Black Rider friends, and then 9 on 20 will kick their ass.
9 on 20 might be able to do it. He might even be able to do it, but it wouldn't be easy. There's a chance the ring gets away. Better not to like totally blow cover yet, I think, is his thought. I have one other note about the elves.
Yeah, does he know for sure that the ring is even there? Because like we said, we don't know if he's sniffing for Frodo or sniffing for the ring.
I don't think he knows for sure.
I think the only way he would know is if Frodo put it on in the vicinity.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a big risk, and it's easy enough to sort of stay back and see what happens. There's no need to make a rash move yet. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, kind of important. When the elves encounter Frodo, when they initially frighten off the ring wraith, they're singing a song. They're singing a song about Elbereth. Elbereth is important, and it's going. She's going to become more important, especially when Frodo is at Weathertop. So Elbereth is a Sindarin word meaning Queen of the Stars. This is a song of praise to Elbereth, and Elbereth is the name given to Varda. She is a Valar, or she is a Vala, and she created the stars. She is the wife of Manwë, who is the chief deity, the chief Vala, and the elves have adopted her as kind of a patron deity. So this is kind of, they're singing a song of praise to essentially like their favorite god. And this god is pretty powerful and pretty important. So she created the stars. She's kind of the god of like, not of light per se, but like when the elves were created, there were only stars. So that's why she holds a special place in their heart. It's also worth noting that the Maiar, which we've talked about a little bit, they're of the same kind of entity as the Valar. So the Valar are essentially like archangels, and the Maiar are lesser angels. Though the Valar also kind of take on the role of Greek gods, but Tolkien being very Christian, he has to sort of like asterisk that with there's the one true god, Eru Ilúvatar, and then there are his servants who to us appear as gods, but they have some limitations. And then underneath them is an order of spiritual being that is still quite powerful called the Maiar. Sauron is a Maiar. The Balrogs are Maiar. The wizards are Maiar.
But why is Sauron above the Balrogs, or is he?
He is. The Maiar have degree and order. So Sauron is just a very powerful Maiar. Nowhere near the level of Valar, but among Maiar, he's pretty much top tier.
Top tier. That's
Yeah.
just not fair.
And
they need to adjust the meta so that he is more balanced.
So the way this works is there originally were a lot of these beings, I think grouped together, they're called Ainur. And the Ainur...
I know the Ainur.
The Ainur, some of them choose to enter the world, some of them do not. So the ones that choose to enter, the most powerful of these are the Valar. And then serving the Valar are Maiar. The Maiar each sort of like pick a Valar and they study under them. They sort of work underneath them, assist them in their tasks, and they kind of take on characteristics of the Valar they serve. Sauron originally was a Maiar of Aule the Smith. We talked about him. He created the dwarves. He later switched to Morgoth, and then after Morgoth left, he made a play for Middle-earth. Maiar and Valar, they both are fundamentally...
After Morgoth left?
After he vacated his position somewhat involuntarily, there was an opening and Sauron applied.
And since Sauron was also the head of human resources at the time, it was a really easy hire.
He was certainly the head of human resources. So these beings, they have some properties of their existence. They're fundamentally spiritual. They put on bodies like clothes, though the more they use their bodies, and especially the more they use their bodies for selfish and worldly purposes, the more tied to their bodies they become. So if you like to put on a body and get drunk, you're going to get more tied to that body because drinking is like a bodily act. If you like to put on a body and look at paintings in a museum, that's not necessarily going to do anything to you. Looking at a painting is just kind of a spiritual, intellectual act. The biggest thing you can do to tie yourself to a body is have a kid or make a ring. But the Balrogs are...
Why not both?
Yeah, I don't know. He could have tried that. The Balrogs are pretty much locked into their bodies. They choose their bodies. Every Maiar does. They can choose how they look. They can construct different forms for different purposes. But usually the evil
20-foot
creatures,
penis.
they could do that. Usually the creatures that are like evil tend to become very attached and stuck in their form. Sauron changes form a lot at first, but then he makes the ring, and or then he gets
I thought
wiped
it had
out.
something to do with Numenor.
Yeah, he gets his body destroyed after Numenor, and I think after that he's not able to take his pretty form anymore. So Sauron usually likes to appear as a hot elf guy,
Yeah.
um, but
Nice.
now he's stuck as like an ugly dude. Sucks.
Does he look like his movie counterpart?
We never see him in the books, so I don't know. You only get
Oh.
Gollum's glimpse of his hand. He doesn't actually show up bodily.
So he could have just been an eye monster that also
Gollum
had,
has seen him. Gollum is the only one who has seen him, I think.
But so he could be an eye monster, but with like a hand.
If
Like
you
you
want
don't
to
know
imagine,
that he's not.
I'm pretty sure he's not. The reason I mention all this stuff about Maya, I mentioned the wizards are Maya. Gandalf is a Maya who studied under Varda. So this is where we get into the elves worship Varda as like their patron deity. Gandalf, who was back then known as Olorin, is a Maiar, or he is a Maya of Varda. And there's one more cool thing about Varda. Melkor, who was Morgoth, or Morgoth, who was Melkor. Melkor was his name when he was of Valar.
Ah.
Melkor, before the music was even sung, before the world was created, Melkor tried to get Varda's attention, perhaps her affections. And she, it is said, knew him best and rejected him even back then. She saw this guy, saw right through him, knew he was trouble, told him to F off. And then ever after that, he was most afraid and most hateful towards her. So I'm just saying, if at some point later somebody should pray to Elbereth or invoke the name of Elbereth in the face of great evil, perhaps there's some power there.
I will not remember this by the time that happens next.
There's just one more note, and this is a quick one. Let me see here. Oh gosh, I'm already forgetting names.
Tom Bombadil.
Tom Bombadil, yes. Gildor Inglorian. He names Frodo Elf Friend. Elf Friend is a term that gets used sporadically throughout the mythos. Not a ton of them.
Wow.
Usually, to become an elf friend, you have to do a huge favor for an elf or otherwise really impress them. For the most part,
Or in this case, you just got to speak some Elvish, and you're in the club.
I think there's a little more to it. I think simply being pursued by the Black Riders probably is like an enemy of my enemy kind of
Is
situation.
my elf friend.
Exactly. I think because Frodo is A, awesome, B, really chill bro, and C, Sauron hates this guy. I like him. Frodo, I name you elf friend. And also you're like a little guy, so, how much could this really like leverage?
Oh, I'm gonna go on a power trip now. I'm an elf friend.
You're not.
I
You're
get a
certainly
discount
not.
at all the elf bars.
You probably drink for free if you're an elf friend.
God damn right.
No, you gotta. The elf friend thing. This is kind of like a negative towards the elves. You gotta like. It's cool once you get it. Like they're really nice to you once you get it, but they're really not nice to everyone else. Like you got to do a lot more for the elf than the elf does for you to become an elf friend. And I think like Frodo, it's like, oh, Frodo, you took this ring that exists because my people wanted to make magic rings, and we didn't notice it was Sauron teaching us. It was the Lord of Gifts. We probably should have been just a little suspicious.
The
Oh, this
Lord of
Lord
Gifts. He never wants anything back. It's really weird.
Yeah, and like he looks like an elf, but nobody's heard of him. Yeah, it's so you're doomed to carry that burden now, and it's probably going to eat your soul. So, elf friend, thanks for taking that one for us, buddy.
Thanks for taking one for the team.
Obviously, when I talk about the Valar, when I talk about the Noldor, or when we really get into basically anything to do with the history of the elves, we're talking the Silmarillion. So, if you want to know more about that, I think we've decided we're going to cover the Silmarillion eventually. I think maybe we'll try to get through Lord of the Rings first. But I kind of forgot just how much the Silmarillion is directly referenced, which is kind of crazy considering Tolkien never thought it would get published. He did tell his publisher, like, parts of this aren't going to make any sense if you haven't read the Silmarillion. And they're like, honestly, John, I don't think it would make sense even if we had. So
you're trying to tell me about who the Noldor are and how they're different from the Wood Elves, and like I don't know. Can
you show me that chart again, John? What was the Teleri? Like, look, it's definitely a 10,000 year history, complete with like language evolution and like,
and it's better than. Now it's just Don instead of Caladan. It's Dan.
Literally, dude, he has a whole like vowel mutation structure for how Sindarin evolves.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no, he knows how languages evolve, and he has like the whole reason he wrote these stories initially, like to separate different elves, and like the Noldor leave and come back, and language has evolved on the continent since the Noldor left, and when the Noldor come back, they reintroduce old elements.
We now use Riz instead of charisma.
Demure is another that's coming back.
Okay.
The TikTok kids I don't think they know what it means.
I don't think they know about a lot of...
They say like 4 adjectives and then demure to describe something. They don't know a lot. They don't even know what the Avari are, Nate. They're not as cool as us.
Idiots.
They're not talking about important things like we are over in podcast land. Talked about this chapter for longer than it would take to read it.
Yeah, that's true. I finished reading this morning. I started reading it this morning.
Okay, so that's it. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I look forward to trying to edit that long speech about the Noldor into something comprehensible. It will be a journey. Thank you, Tolkien.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road has gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.